You know, some of the most powerful medicine in history wasn't a pill, it was a story. And today, we're going to dive into a 3,000-year-old Hittite myth. This wasn't just some campfire tale, it was designed, quite literally, to pull someone back from the brink of despair.
All right, let's just get right into it. Have you ever felt that inner coldness where all the joy and color just kind of drains out of life, leaving you feeling, well, frozen? It's a feeling as old as humanity, for sure.
Well, thousands of years ago, over in ancient Anatolia, the Hittites had a word for this. And it wasn't just a word for feeling sad. No, it was a concept so specific, so precise, that it perfectly described how our bodies physically react when our spirit just feels broken. And this just shows how well they understood that mind-body connection, you know? When we're sick or in pain or just completely heartbroken, what's our first instinct? We pull back, we withdraw, we literally shrink away from the world. We become Kunkuliyati.
See, for the Hittites, feeling this way wasn't just, a bad mood. Oh no, it was a sign that the entire cosmic balance had been shattered, and this was a divine drama, playing out with three major players.
So first up, you've got Pahhur, the fire god. And think of him as more than just literal flames. He's that fire inside of us, right? Our vitality, our life force, that get up and go. Then, on the other side, you have his opposite, Gulzanzipa, the Bad Fate Genie. Just picture the crushing weight of a sudden illness or a deep grief. That's Gulzanzipa, a force that literally pins you down in the dark. And then, you've got Teshub, the thundering storm god. He's the game changer, the unstoppable force of intervention that can just shatter any darkness. Okay, so how do these three fit together? Well, their story, this myth, is the Hittite explanation for where that inner cold, that feeling of Kunkuliyati, actually comes from. So the story begins when Pahhur, our inner fire, gets angry. We don't even know why. And in his despair, he just rejects everything he is. He takes off his shining armor, sheds his light, and literally buries his own warmth deep in the earth. He just checks out. And right there, in that moment, this mighty god becomes Kunkuliyati. He's not a god anymore, he's a hedgehog, all curled up and hidden. It's the perfect image, isn't it? Just like when we're sick and we curl up in bed, wanting to hide from the whole world. But here's the thing, hiding away like that doesn't bring any peace. In the darkness, that weakened fire is now totally vulnerable. And this is where the metaphor gets so powerful. Gulzanzipa, that bad fate genie, finds him. It's exactly when our own vitality is at its lowest that sickness or misfortune can really take hold, right? It traps our inner fire, pinning us down, making it feel impossible to move. So with the fire of life now trapped, the whole world starts to freeze over. But the cosmos, it just won't let this imbalance stand. Something's got to give. A bigger power has to step in. And when Teshub arrives, believe me, it is not gentle. He doesn't show up to negotiate with the darkness. The ancient tablets say he comes and just splits the dark earth. He shatters the prison holding the fire with just sheer, unstoppable force. And the climax here happens in three incredible steps. First, the demon is defeated. Teshub just grabs Gulzanzipa and tosses him aside. Second, with that obstacle gone, the fire is unleashed. And finally, step 3, warmth and life can flood back into the world. And the comeback is just as dramatic as the fall. The fire doesn't just, sneak out. No way. Pahhur erupts like a volcano. He's not a helpless little hedgehog anymore. He's a mighty god again. And he stands over that bad fate genie and crushes the evil right under his foot. So, okay, that's a pretty epic story, right? But here's why it's so much more than that. For the Hittites, telling this story, that was the medicine. They called it a magical song. You can think of it as a really, really old ancestor to what we'd call narrative therapy today. A priest would literally sit by the bed of someone who was sick or depressed and recite this entire epic. The goal was to use the power of the story to change the patient's actual reality. And this is the absolute core of how it worked. The priest was creating a direct one-to-one connection. Look, when Pahhur becomes a hedgehog, that's the patient curled up in bed. When Gulzanzipa traps the god, that's the illness pinning the patient down. The storm god's arrival, that's hope. It's the ritual itself. And when Pahhur crushes the demon, that's the patient's own body finally defeating the sickness. The god's journey is the patient's journey. So by telling this story, the priest was basically prescribing a new narrative for the patient's life. He was saying, look, I know you feel trapped right now. I know you feel like that hedgehog. But this is not the end of your story. The storm is coming, and your own inner fire is about to rise up and crush this thing underfoot. And really, that's the big takeaway, isn't it? For thousands of years, we've known that healing isn't just a physical thing. We need stories. We need powerful metaphors to give us the mental strength to fight our demons and to truly believe that the warmth can and will come back. So this incredible 3,000-year-old prescription was designed to do one thing: relight a person's inner fire. And it kind of leaves us with a question for our own time, doesn't it? When we feel that inner cold, when we get into that state of Kunkuliyati, what are the stories we tell ourselves to find the warmth again?